Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Hooligan Chronicles. And today I have a very, very, very special guest, none other than Ari himself. Ari, you want to introduce yourself? Because I want you to introduce yourself actually. What would you refer to yourself to as a reviewer, garage gym homie, Ari?
Well, yeah. What up? What up? Yeah, I'm Garage Gym Homie. It says it. That's what I have in my name here on the screen, but that's what the people know me as. But yeah, my name's Ari, and I'd like to think I'm more than a supplement reviewer.
That's
We
the
can
reason
talk
why I
about that.
wanted you to introduce yourself because, you and I talked about this obviously, and I said I don't want to do with you of all people. I don't want to do the typical interview. So reviews will cover it, of course, but I
Sure.
want people to actually get to know you a little bit more than that because I got to know you more than just a review channel, than a reviewer, and there is a lot more to you. And I think it's time to just get a little bit closer, up close and personal, and kind of no holds barred. Go for it. What do you think?
We could dig in as deep as you want. I'm down for that.
Perfect. So I'm not gonna go how you started with the review channel and stuff like that because I know that you've been through a lot in your life and you've been through quite a few experiences. What led you to having a great physique, having a very very successful review channel right now. And obviously, I congratulate you on that because I know it's an accomplishment and you work very hard. Probably one of the hardest men I know.
Thank you. I appreciate your words, man. I appreciate your words. I love it. I put my heart and soul into it, and I genuinely love making content and connecting with people. Number one.
Now, I know that you've been around not for a very long time. I mean, you're one of the newer guys, so to speak, but you already made a lot of noise, obviously, as a review channel because you do it kind of in a different way. And it doesn't seem like I see sometimes guys copy other channels and they're trying to be like somebody else. Right off the bat, I personally got to know you when you reviewed one of my products, and I absolutely hated you. That's how
Yeah,
I got to know you. But as I said numerous times, the reason why I always respect anyone who owns what they say and not afraid to admit when they either wrong or they don't know something, and people that want to learn. And um, I apologize to you before that because I attacked you pretty ferociously, but you literally took it right on the chin and you didn't defend yourself, you didn't make no excuses. The exact opposite, which I think a lot of people could learn from you. You were like, I'm just trying to learn this. I don't know shit. I'm trying to get better and I'm only getting started and I want to learn and I want to get better. And I think you did get better because your reviews right now are not just entertaining, which I know it's your bread and butter to entertain people. You like entertaining, you care about people, you love people, but they also now I can see even based on the ingredients and stuff like that, you clearly learned a lot and it seems like you're really getting into it a little bit deeper. And for that I commend you because that's not easy to do.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I've learned. I came into it knowing like very as far as ingredient wise specifically goes, knowing I mean very little, and I have no problem. You could ask David Frederickson. I hit him up all the time, and I'm like, "Hey, man, what is this?" I'm like reviewing this product, or I just got this product in. I have no problem asking for guidance, or help, and I'm trying to learn and get better, but also keep in mind that starting the channel, supplement reviews were only supposed to be like a part of it. I get really wrapped up in it, and to be honest with you, I know supplements are your industry. I feel like they hold me back from doing what I really want to do with the channel because I get so many companies sending me this, product that. So I'm like, oh my God, I got this pressure to constantly review stuff. So I'm not really making the content I want to make a lot of times, which is the stuff that comes from here more.
Now let me ask you this, coming into review business or just this general idea of doing reviews for supplement companies and to create your own channel and stuff like that. Did you draw any inspiration from anyone? I'm not saying that you copied somebody because clearly you didn't, but did you refer to anyone? Did you learn from anyone? Did you try to understand like more in depth about the industry by looking at other channels and not necessarily,
100%.
yeah, not necessarily drawing inspiration, but kind of like trying to look up to somebody? Was there anyone, one channel or multiple channels that you kind of paid attention to before starting your own?
Yeah, I watched a few channels. There's some guy out there in Australia or whatever. He does reviews. I'm sure you Massive Joe. I don't know if so I used to watch him, but he would just kind of read the label and not take the product and talk about what it was about. But then I found TJ's channel, and I was like, man, this guy's fun to watch. He's entertaining, and I was like, I could do that. I was like, I could do that. What he's doing, and put my own spin on it. And so I reached out to TJ, and he was generous, man. He offered to have a conference call with me. He gave me like an hour of his time. He gave me a ton. He's like, "You should start the channel, man." He encouraged me. He was never like, "Oh, there's no room for you here." It's like there was never any kind of hater like that. I just told him like where I came from, about I'm a recovered addict, and that I love health and fitness, and he gave his time to help me, gave me a lot of tips. At my first videos, he reviewed them, like over them, gave me like ways to change them and do better, and he was super generous, man, to help me get started.
So Ari, we got to actually, you led me to this yourself about being a recovered addict. A lot of people, and I hope you're okay with me asking you questions about it,
Sure.
because I know that it can be, typically something about somebody's past, and we all have past, and sometimes it's not really colorful, and certain things we want to forget and not talk about it. And a lot of people in your place would probably stay away from the subject and try to forget about it and not mention it, whether because they shy, uncomfortable, embarrassed, or just want to leave that dark past behind them. A few days ago, I was talking to a bunch of friends of mine, and I said something to an extent where I said, you know what, there were some bad experiences in my past, like really bad. And in a very ironic way, I wouldn't change them for anything because I believe the bad, the good, the ugly led me to what I have today in my life. And I feel blessed for having what I have right now. I learned from those either mistakes or bad experiences. But I rarely talk about them, and especially not in the open. You, on the other hand, I have to commend you on this. You're very outspoken about it. I'm not saying you're talking about it with pride, but you're comfortable enough to share your experiences of being an addict. And I wanted to ask you why you do it. Why not just, keep that dark past behind you and not reveal it? It might actually hurt you business wise. A lot of people, when they make mistakes or they have a dark past, they've been in jail or something like that, they try to hide that fact. You did the exact opposite. And again, I respect that tremendously, but I would like to know why.
I believe deep, deep down in my heart, like in the deepest place you can go, that my purpose is to help addicts and alcoholics at the end of the day. I believe that there's no way in heck that I went through what I've been through. And I could go into detail. I've been to 20 different rehabs. I've been to two different state penitentiaries in California. I've been to uh, jail in 3 states. I've been arrested 20 times. I've been, overdosed several times, gone to the hospital. I've flatlined, on and on and on, homeless, this and that. And there's no way that I went through all that for no reason, just to hide it in the past. There's a lot of sick and suffering addicts and alcoholics out there, and I was blessed enough to make it out. which is very rare if you know anything about, the statistics of how many people come out of heroin addiction, crystal meth addiction, or alcoholism even, or any kind of addiction. Most it's most people don't make it out. So I feel I genuinely have a responsibility to help addicts and alcoholics because someone was there to help me and offer themselves to me, the person who still sponsors me in the AA program today, for almost 10 years now. He offered himself to me. He said, I'm going to show you how I got well. And he showed me, took me through the program. And so I know I have a responsibility to be available to people to do that with them. And I really have no business hiding that. It's not going to ruin my business. I run a heating and cooling company. I mean, I'm situated. I'm blessed enough where I'm situated. This is all passion to me. What I'm doing here. This is all. I don't want to use the word extras, but yeah, it's just something I genuinely love to do, and I just think that my purpose is to be a maximum service to God and the people around me, and that's why I started the channel. I used to speak at treatment centers every month, and when COVID came, they wouldn't let outside speakers come in. I used to come in and speak to the inpatients at a drug rehab here. I did it for over 6 years and speak to over 60 inpatients. I'd give them an hour and a half lecture, and I started sponsored hundreds of addicts and alcoholics through the 12-step program, and they shut their doors on outside speakers. And I thought, man, I want a way to connect with people still and speak and talk about where I came from and where I'm at now and motivate people, not just addicts and alcoholics, but motivate people to work out and find that working out gets you high and the love, and the supplements are fun too, so that was a good, easy avenue to start talking about something. And so that's where it started. That's the purpose of the channel is to be a light to people, more than anything.
Um, some of us have kids, younger brothers, sisters, family members, and let's be honest, not nobody is immune to go down the path that you have, that you've been through. What if you okay answering this question? What led you to the life of an addict? Was it school, hard life, peer pressure, just dumb decision?
I felt at the age of like 5 or 6, man,
Wow.
everybody knew there was always something different about me. My head didn't work the same as other people's, even at that young age, like everyone was out at recess, and I was being held back because I misbehaved. I was always something was just different about me. I had that obsessive, that addict in me. I hadn't been unleashed yet on drugs and alcohol till I was about 14. But once it was there, I lived my whole life terrified, man. Like terrified in school, feeling like everyone knew exactly what was going on in school but me. Like I'm the only one who doesn't know, what they want to be when they grow up. My whole life was filled with fear. So when I found drugs and alcohol, I found like I belonged to something. There was that illusion that the fear was gone. I felt like this is it for me. I have an identity. I belong with these people, or I'm the man now. I'm slinging dope or doing this or getting high. And like when I started getting high, the first 5 or 6 times I smoking weed, I didn't even get high, but I pretended I was high so I could fit in. I pretended, so like the fear and the dishonesty just ran my life, man. So when I found drugs and alcohol, I just went all in, took off running, you know.
Are there any signs for people that have, again, children, loved ones, siblings, to look for certain signs that will tell us, that will alarm us and say that we need to interfere and possibly prevent problems? Is there something we should be looking for, or is it not really detectable and unpredictable?
I think you'll know when it's, when something's off. I mean, I've been on the other end of it, so it's hard for me to say, it's very difficult. Um, but I counsel a lot of people who have family members and who are struggling, suffering from addiction, and they just don't know what to do. They want to get in the way and interfere, and I tell them, the best thing you might be able to do for somebody is let them fall on their face, because getting in the way of somebody falling on their face could sometimes be the worst thing you can do, you know. So it's a tough thing, man, when you're dealing with loved ones who are, doing wrong, and you want to try and save them, and there's nothing you can do till they want it, you know. Nothing in the world you can do unless they want it.
Um, okay. What I want to ask you right now is, you said that you've been to rehab about 20 times.
Yeah, been to 20 between detox centers, rehabs, and sober livings. I've been to, yeah, 20 different
Was
treatment
it
centers.
because you were pushed by loved ones, forced, or was it your decision to try?
There's there's been an array of reasons. Like I started getting in legal trouble when I was like 18 here in Michigan. And so I had a lawyer who would make these deals with the judge, we'll let him go to treatment center, and he won't, the charges won't be as bad or this or that, So that's where it started, And then toward the end, it was just so bad that I was just desperate to come off of heroin. So I'd go to these detox centers. I just didn't stick it out. So the funny thing is, when I was really ready to get sober, I didn't go to any rehab. I was done. I threw in the towel. I got into the program of AA and stayed sober. You
Why
know,
did you fail the other times?
what I wasn't. I was nowhere near ready and willing to do what it takes. I mean, I was just. There's two. If I want to get sober, if any addict wants to get sober, there's two questions they have to ask themselves. Am I ready to be done for good? Not this one day at a time kind of junk, man. Am I ready to be done for good? And am I willing to do whatever it takes? And I was never willing, man, till I was willing, you know.
So what made you to finally decide to stop?
Well,
Because it seems like it was a very, very strong decision and you never went back. So was it something that happened in your life, or was it something that, like awakening or something? I
you
mean,
know,
clearly
the
you made a decision and you stopped.
yeah, the easy answer would be that, God gave me the willingness. There was some kind of power holding me, that gave it to me. My brother ended up I was living in Los Angeles for 8 years, and my brother ended up out there the week that I was just went to jail for the last time, detoxing off heroin in jail. He picked me up from jail, and the rehab wouldn't let me back in that I was staying at, and I literally had nothing left. I mean, nothing. There were abscesses, staph infections up and down my body from shooting up, from getting high. I was sick. I was had a fever from the staph. I was on death's doorstep, as they would say, and I had nothing left. And he called my dad and he said, "It's time we bring Ari home." And he put me on a Greyhound bus and brought me home, and I never looked back. Never.
How many years has it been?
Uh, January will be 10 years.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
quite an accomplishment. Um, do you drink right now?
No,
Not at all. No
no
beer,
beer.
no wine, no nothing. Is it?
Sober. So
Is it? I'm sorry if any of the questions are offensive. Please stop
no,
me.
nothing offensive. No, no,
Um,
I'm complete. It's funny you say that because I talk to people sometimes and they say they're sober, and then it come to find out, oh, I'm sober, but I smoke weed. I'm like, that's not sober, like in my definition,
no, no,
or
and I
it,
agree with you. The
you
reason
know,
why I'm asking you, because, for example, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do any of that stuff. I don't judge people that do. I mean, socially
sure,
drinking, of course. I
sure.
just don't, because I had my first alcohol drink when I was 25. So I guess I kind of started very, very late, and it just never stuck with me. I never kind of got into the whole social experience of drinking and smoking, and it's not like, some people think, oh look, he's a good boy. It has nothing to do with being a good boy. It's just like it never kind of happened for me. I'm not sorry about it, I'm not proud of it, it's just the way it is. But the reason why I'm asking you is, you not drinking anything, I understand, no alcohol whatsoever. Is it because you don't want to, or is it because you're scared?
Well, I just know. I don't want to say I think. I know deep down in here that if I drink, my disease is just, I mean, there's no telling, man, where I cross the line then. I could drink, well, I could say, you know what, alcohol was never a huge problem, even though I have 2 DUIs, I could have a drink. Oh wait, why not smoke a little weed? Why not do a little opiates or take a Xanax or go back to get some hair? I mean, it just happens quickly with me. I can't afford, and I can't help addicts or alcoholics if I'm not sober myself. I mean, I just can't do it. So I'm just, I have no interest in drinking or
So
drugs.
any events, parties, or stuff like that, you just don't drink alcohol at all?
I'm a homebody, man. I don't even want to be like, when I first got sober, my cousin used to take me to the bars and clubs, and I would be there and I would just be so uncomfortable in my skin. Everyone's drinking, like I'm brand new sober. I'm not tempted to drink or anything, but I'm like, man, I just want to be home with my pups right now, watching some Netflix or something, like this just it just wasn't fun anymore being in those environments. I don't really like, I go out to restaurants, I go out to dinner, but for me to go to parties or clubs or bar, it's just not part of my life anymore. I just don't go. Not because I'm scared, or I just don't have a circle like that. I just don't go out drinking. It's just not part of what I do.
When you speak to, to addicts these days, and clearly you you can relate to them more than anyone else, more than any counselor or anything like that, because you've been there, you experience what they experience. When you talk to them and they still high, or they still, under the influence and stuff like that, is it hard for you to get through to them? Do you think you're wasting your time? Most of the time, I'm not saying always. Or do you think they respond to you and relate to you a little bit better than any, you know, somebody with higher education who thinks he knows everything, being he's book smart but never experienced? Or do they trust you more and they look up to you and they listen to you? Like, can you get through them a little bit easier than some doctor?
Yeah, I'm their best bet because they know that I think like they think. I know exactly how they think. I know how their head works because my head works the same way. So I could talk to an addict or alcoholic for 5 minutes and they'll know, hey, this guy knows exactly, if I tell him, where I came from and, where I'm at now. I don't talk to people while they're high because I don't find it to be a productive conversation. Same with being drunk, like I've sponsored a lot of people and they'll relapse and they'll call me drunk. And I'll be like, hey man, like I'd love to help you. I'd love to talk with you. Why don't you like sober up for the day, take it easy, call me tomorrow when you haven't had a drink and we'll talk about the next step. So I don't actually talk to people while they're drunk or high, because it just doesn't make for a very productive conversation usually. Um, but I do whatever I can to help people, man, or plant seeds. If I got to help get them into a detox center, if I got to take them through the 12 steps, of the AA program, I mean, that's my purpose. So,
How do you feel when somebody you're trying to help, ends up failing and goes back to drugs? Do you feel
yes,
your failure, or do you understand that it's one of those things that just can happen?
no, I know it's not my failure. And I know 110% it's got nothing to do with me because I believe I'm the best sponsor they can have, because
Okay.
I don't, because there's a book in AA. It's a big book, the AA literature. So the things that I'm taking people through, they're not coming from my head. They're coming from the book, if that makes sense. So it's not me, you know. Um, some people I get closer to than others, and people who I've sponsored and they go back out. I've had 4 or 5 people I've sponsored die now, and so that hurts my heart, like, really badly because some of them I really liked, man, and we were friends too, like, it's hurtful. It hurts my heart because I see it so clearly, like, this is all you need to do to get sober, and they just can't see it. Like, in hindsight, like, I see it so clearly, like, just take these 12 steps, just do exactly as this book says, step by step. That's all you need to do. It's so simple, but that disease has such a grip on them. They just can't see it clearly like I do, and I want them to have it so badly, but they're just not willing to do it. So it's frustrating, but it's not on me. I tell people when I sponsor, like, "Hey, I'm here for you, but it's gonna be your sweat," It just has to be like that.
And the opposite question of that, how does it make you feel when you know that you succeeded and you actually helped somebody get sober and recover?
Man, it's surreal, because I never thought I could get 10 minutes sober, let alone 10 years. So, I've been at AA meetings where I'm sitting there with my sponsor, his sponsor, 2 people I'm sponsoring, and someone they're sponsoring. I'm like, I get to see the people I'm sponsoring now sponsor other people. It's like this family growing around me. It's just an unbelievable experience, and that I helped this person recover, and now he's helping other addicts and alcoholics. I mean, it's like beyond anything I could imagine. I get so fired up when I talk about it because it's amazing, man, like, to see someone I sponsored sponsor other people, and I know they're doing it right from the book, not from the big head, and it's like giving good information in a world where there's a lot of bad information. It's amazing.
Ari, you review a lot of products, obviously a lot of pre-workouts, because most of the time they want you to review pre-workouts. I mean, let's face it, when it comes to protein, it's just a matter of opinion. Everybody, it's just about taste at the end. Some protein um, formulas are quality, I mean, is very good and some very poor, but at the end of the day, the flavor plays a huge part, but it's very subjective. When it comes to pre-workout, it's a little bit different because we have, what you call as stim junkie pre-workouts, right? So they can be, I know I make some of them. They have some of the nootropics and ingredients that cause euphoria and that well-being and stuff like that. Does that alarm you or scares you at any point of time, that maybe there is a connection between that and getting high?
Definitely, it's a great question because I've had, uh, I've had to answer this to myself, and, it's as a recovered addict, I 100% have to be very aware about my use with pre-workouts and stimulants. So I've created some very strict boundaries and rules for myself that I don't cross. And I have to continue to watch myself, especially when dealing with DMHA or, even, whatever it is, because my head can go in a crazy place. Um, so I have very specific rules that I don't cross the line. And I mean, I'm sure nothing surprises you. Some of my viewers use this stuff every day. It's like nothing for them, It's like, and then I'll get messages from some of my viewers, and they're like, "I'm addicted to pre-workout. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm withdrawing. I'm on Excelsior. I haven't gone a day without it." I'm like, "Oh my god! Like, what am I promoting?" It's like, holy cow, like, this is supposed to be about health and fitness, So I definitely have to be very aware of what I'm doing, because what you're saying is 100% valid. I could easily cross the line when you're dealing with that kind of stuff, especially as an addict or alcoholic. But no, it doesn't scare me, man, because I feel so close to God and so connected spiritually and so in line and dialed in with what I'm doing right now. Like I feel the best I've ever felt in my life, not physically too, but spiritually and emotionally, that it's just not a concern. I feel protected, if that makes sense, right now.
Yeah, the reason actually why I decided to ask you this question was because I think last week we were trying the new Assassin, and as you know, Assassin is a little bit on that higher stem, crazy,
Yeah.
euphoric, and this one is probably actually definitely in the pure tradition of Apollon, it's a step up. And a friend of mine tried it, and he goes to me, "Holy shit, did you put Adderall in this?" So, it was obviously a joke, not a very funny
Right.
joke, but it was a joke. And, and that made me think, I'm like, okay, I guess that's what people want. They want to feel happy and kind of high, I guess, during the workout. They want to enjoy it. I was like, if that's the feeling, then we are one step away from resorting to actual drugs, to actual Adderall, to actual, being high. And again, I know I'm not doing anything wrong because I'm just providing supplements that are actually legal, ingredients that are legal. It just, I dose them pretty highly for that specific market. But I do understand that maybe it can tip the scale and maybe somebody wants to go to the next level. So that's the reason why I wanted to ask for your opinion, because you've been on the real thing, and then now you're reviewing products that kind of, mostly in a legal way or very gray area way, they try to um, kind of get the feeling the same as of the illegal substances. I mean, look, people they still want to buy DMA. If DMHA is a gray area ingredient, DMA is considered a drug now. It's a completely banned substance. So today, if you're using DMA, it's illegal. But only a couple of years ago, it was perfectly legal. All of us used it. So that's, I think that, obviously, I think guys like you who are reviewing products and guys like me, I guess, we have to be aware of that we are actually on thin ice there, what we are doing and what we're reviewing. And I told this to TJ, I said we still have to have a certain level of responsibility as to what we're saying, because I just played a joke that we are releasing 900 milligram caffeine assassin, and that it's going to be loaded with stims more than ever. And two or three people realized that I was joking, it was April's Fools, but quite a few reached out. When is this shit going to be available? I want it. And so
Yeah.
actually, majority of people want it. It's at that point I was like, okay, I mean, clearly there. But are we talking about now a workout? Something that helps with athletic performance in the gym, or are we talking about something that gets you fucking high? Then where's the limit? And I
Uh,
guess, that kind of leads me to a question. You're reviewing so many products, and some of them are weaker, some of them are stronger. And I've seen, and I commend you for that. I think you reviewed My Lionheart, which is very moderate when it comes to stims. It's a good pre workout, but it's not stim junkie pre workout. And you give it a very, very positive and good review, which I thought was great, because that just shows that you're not only about high stim products and something that gets you high and euphoric and all that, because we got to have a balance in life, and not everything is about bigger is better and the more the better and stuff like that. There are different needs, there are different audiences, and I think that that's why I really like your channel, because you evolved now into a very multi-dimensional channel that caters to everybody, not just stim junkies. And I think that's very important, because that market, I believe, is very tiny. And if you're reviewing products, I think you have to review products that are good for 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, young kids. We're not going to tell them to use Excelsior and stuff like that. And as I said to you many times before, I remember your criticism towards Excelsior, and I was like, this guy is doing the right thing. He's not falling for a trap that everybody loves it because it gets you high. And, like TJ said, it seems like there is something illegal in it, which probably is. But you criticized it, and you handled it in a very responsible manner. And for that, I appreciate you highly.
well, I appreciate that. I just want to say, the majority of my training career, meaning 7 plus years, I've been training for going on 10 years. I'd say 8 of those years, my training's been non-stim. You know, I didn't start using pre-workouts until I started the channel, just so you know. These are all new to me. You know, I didn't even start. I haven't been
Oh, I didn't know that.
around doing
That's
this.
actually
Yeah,
pretty cool.
this is all new to me. You know, I when I started the channel, I was like watching TJ's channel, and I was like, all right, I'll buy a few of these. And so like this, my high stim Saturday used to be a cup of cold brew coffee, and I'd be jacked out of my mind. I mean, this is all new, but I think we all have a responsibility, man. The consumer has a responsibility on what they're taking, and we're gonna find what we seek out. We're gonna find what we seek out, whether it's, I want a good AA sponsor who holds me to it. I'm gonna find that. Whether I want a pre-workout that gets me high, I'm gonna find that. Or do I want a pre-workout that helps me work out? Whatever we seek out, we're gonna find. The problem with Excelsior to me is a lot of the people who did it don't come from where I came from. And when I took Excelsior, I said, "This feels too close to home, man." Like, they don't know that because this was their first experience with that kind of feeling probably, so they're just like, "Oh, this is a great pre-workout." For me, and which, just so you know, kinda gives me a leg up on a lot of other reviewers. I'm very in tune with my body because I'm a recovered drug addict. I'm very, especially when it comes to mind altering substances, things like that. I notice very small things, that a lot of people don't. And so when something's too close to home, man, I call it how it is. And it just, it was super cringe to me, man. I was not for that one. And a lot of others that I've taken, I don't like either. But, and I do review protein. I put out a protein review probably once every 10 days. I
I
drop a
noticed that.
protein
Yeah.
review. Yeah, and to me it's not about taste. I like the labels, man. I want a nice clean protein. I reviewed one today by Old School Lab that kind of tasted like junk, but the label was so clean. I was like, this is kind of cool. I gave it a good review because I don't think bodybuilders don't really have taste buds anyway, man. We eat some nasty stuff, more about the nutrition, and I like the transparent labs, man. They put out some killer products.
Very good product.
They go that healthy route, and their formulas are nice for healthy majority of humanity. As you said, man, I think the stim junkie products kind of hold me back because only a few niche drug addict population cares about that you know. So I try and give it all a shot. Some of my best workouts ever have been non-stim or daily drivers or a cup of coffee.
No, I agree with that. Now, you said you've been training for just under 10 years, right? And I have to admit, from what I see and what, your fans and audience, what they see is you built a very, very nice physique.
Thank you.
Clearly you're putting work into it. Clearly it's the supplementation, the training, the diet. Um, did anyone guide you, or was it everything through trial and error yourself? You kind of got to do what works for you and experimented with different things, because again, you built a very, very nice physique. A
Thank
lot
you.
of people that review products, could learn a trick or two from you. I mean, I want to, as an audience, as a fan, I want to believe you, and you're only a few years younger than me, and considering what you look like, it's very, very impressive. And I've seen you for the past 2 3 years. It seems like you pretty much maintaining that look and getting better. So whatever you're doing is obviously works. Now, did anyone guide you? Did you learn from anyone, or did you experiment yourself and kind of got to learn what works for Ari?
Yeah, so this is just how crazy God is, man. My AA sponsor just happens to be a world champ bodybuilder. And when I got sober, he he told me that, and I wasn't in the bodybuilding scene. My brother was. He does physique shows and stuff. So between the two of them, man, I learned everything, about how to properly train nutrition and everything like that. And my sponsor since I don't know, the '70s, man. He was always on Beverly International. He was in all their magazines, and I'm not gonna say his name because it's AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. But he's a big believer in Beverly's products. And coming now that I've learned about ingredients, and a lot, I'm like, all right, but I think he could have done better than Beverly, but because it's like it's a lot of underdosed junk, if you've seen the formulas, I don't really mess with them anymore, but he loved it, man, and so he was real fired up about it. And so yeah, he taught me everything, man. He taught me
So
everything.
at this
And my
point, you
my
know a little
brother.
bit more than he does
I don't want it not about training, man. About
about
supplementation.
supplementation.
Yeah, about supplementation. Yeah, yeah. But I can't even talk to him about it because he's kind of would just stand by Beverly, and say this is the best. So I don't really tell him there's better. I don't want to, I don't want to get into it with him, um, but yeah, man, he taught me all about, like just uh, how to hit a rep properly, how to train the muscle properly, proper rest, what to eat, everything, man. There's so much to learn, and
You know, you and I talked about this, and again, you and I are both very open about it because I don't think we're doing anything wrong. We're both in our 40s. We do TRT. You are doing TRT. I'm
hey,
doing.
man, I'm not in my 40s.
You are
I'm
25,
36.
36.
36.
But your views about TRT. Some people think that they even call it, if you're on TRT, then you're a drug addict. Is that offensive to you when people say that because you know what a drug addict actually is? And TRT is there to actually help people that need, testosterone. It's testosterone replacement therapy is actually to help with quality of life. So the question is, uh, what are your views and how do you explain that?
Well, no one's called me a drug addict because of it, but they've said a lot of other stuff.
No, when it comes to testosterone, I've heard the term not directed at you or me directly, but I heard like testosterone is drugs, testosterone is cheating, testosterone is you're an addict. You're jabbing yourself with a needle and stuff like that. There's a huge misconception. There's still a lot of. I think that it's the common knowledge about TRT is now a little bit more widespread, and people do understand the benefits of it.
Mhm.
There are some people who are deficient in their 30s, some people deficient in their 20s. Most people are deficient in the 40s and 50s. But the truth is, testosterone is there to help people,
Mhm.
to make them healthier, more productive, better, to help with recovery, sex drive, sleep, fat loss. So it's obviously there to help. Um, do you find it, even though if it's not directed to you directly, but somebody who was an addict, when people say such things about testosterone, what are your views about it?
Uh, when I come, pr- pro- first of all, they can say what they want, but when I come correct with people and I'm transparent and genuine, I find that I get nothing but love and support. And I tell people, look, man, I destroyed my endocrine system with heroin. I destroyed it, man, with many years of heroin. And when I got sober, and I had low T, it wasn't a light decision to jump on testosterone. I tried for a year and a half to try and get my levels up naturally, and they weren't budging. So it's like something I had to clear with God, with my AA sponsor, with my doctor. It wasn't just like some light to you have low T. Oh, I'm jumping on TRT. I tried for a year, man, and a year and a half to get my levels up, and finally I gave in, man. I was sick of walking around like a zombie. I mean, I legitimately had low testosterone. So the funniest part about it now is I'm on the lowest dose I've ever been, and I feel the best I've ever been. So I found less is more for me. I take 100 milligrams every 5 days now, which is the lowest it's ever been, and I feel great. There's no ups and downs or anything like that. And I just tell people, I'm a big believer that pharmaceuticals should always be a last resort. big pharma, pharmaceuticals, always exhaust your options first. Uh, Everything natural is obviously uh, preferred,
I
but
agree.
they're it's there for a reason. It's there. Some pharmaceuticals are great and they can really help people. And I don't regret for a second, man, being on testosterone. It's been a great part of my. It brought me back
That's a
to
very
life.
good answer. Yeah, no, I think it's a phenomenal answer. Um, right now, after years of drug use, now being recovered for what 10 years now,
Almost going on.
almost 10 years, and living a healthy lifestyle where you're training, where you're eating right, doing supplementation, and clearly caring about your body and about your health. Um, and with testosterone replacement therapy, how is your blood work?
As far as my testosterone numbers,
No, no, not testosterone, just your vitals. Like,
they're
is it good?
yeah, they're great. Everything's great. Yeah, I get it done every 6 months, and uh, I don't go to like a testosterone clinic. I have
Regular
my
doc.
doctor. Yeah, he monitors everything, and he seems to care more than those clinics do, and he goes over the blood work with me, and yeah, everything's really great with it. I've never had any problems. Some of the doctors don't really know because he'll be like, "Oh, your liver enzymes are slightly elevated," and then come to find out, all workout people's liver
All of
enzymes
them. Yep.
are usually slightly elevated. So I
Yep.
had to tell him that. So I've had to do a lot of my own research when it comes to testosterone and stuff. It's just unfortunate. A lot of doctors just don't have a lot of good information, man, unless they're like experts.
Yeah, I think you're on point with that, but I'm glad that you're in a good place right now, and you're healthy and clearly look healthy and feel healthy. And I think that's what it's all about. I think that's you transform yourself completely. Now, just to touch up, I guess, a little bit at least about the supplement industry, since you are involved. I want to ask you, you've been doing the reviews and been involved in the industry for what, 2, 3 years?
Yeah, 2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years now.
So, in your very limited experience, I mean, clearly from what I've seen, I watch your channel. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate all the love and support you've given to our brand. So, thank you very much for that. Really appreciate that.
Sure.
But in the last 2, 2.5 years, would you say the supplement industry has gotten better, worse, or are we pretty much same place where we were when you first came to the industry?
Well, with me, it's kind of mind blowing because it's hard for me to say because I'm learning just now just how shady it is, the supplement industry. So it's like, it's mind blowing, man. Like questions I didn't have to even think of. Listen, if I would have thought 2.5 years ago, someone sent me a pre workout, I would scoop it and ingest it with no questions behind it. Now I have to ask somebody, is this manufactured properly? Where is this manufactured? I want to know where it's manufactured because come to find out, some people are mixing up supplements themselves.
Correct.
And that scares the heck out of me, man. I mean, one
Right.
little mistake and I'm dead, and I'm trying too many products to play with that, So now I'm just really learn. So for me to say, is it better or worse? I don't know. I'm just now learning just how crazy it is. I mean, things about hot spots or whatever they're called in manufacturing where you can accidentally ingest a gram of caffeine if it's not mixed properly or this or that or the kind of the manufacturing that different equipment's needed if you're mixing alpha yo because of how small the milligrams are. They can't use the same equipment as some other kind of things without alpha, because when you're dealing with such a tiny dosage, there's so much I'm learning. So I'm just trying to gauge how crazy it is now. But I don't know if it's getting better or worse. I think a lot of companies just slap whatever they want on a label and you take it and you're like, this isn't right, So I don't know, man. It's a crazy, crazy industry, and it seems cutthroat. You
Oh, it's
know.
very cutthroat. Yeah, 100%. Um, what I wanted to ask you, your audience from the beginning of starting your channel, have you noticed like any changes as to who's watching your reviews? Is it predominantly STEM junkies and people that want to see, Ari being Ari and, doing fun entertainment reviews? Or do you think that you have newer audience with different perspective and maybe different views, and it's a little bit more diverse than just, again, STEM junkies and people that want DMHA and stuff like that?
Well, I'm really blessed, man, because just recently I have the fastest growing review channel right now. I mean, it just is, man. I'm getting over 1,000 subscribers a month now, and there's no other channel getting that. Not in the review game.
Why do you
Uh,
think so?
I think that I put out, first of all, I put out content every day. I work hard, man. I'm an addict, so I'm putting my heart and soul into what I'm doing. And I think staying true, staying genuine, being transparent, showing off my personality and connecting with people makes people, want to be very loving and supportive. I just think that I respond to every comment, I respond to every email, I respond to every Instagram message, and I do everything. I love connecting with people. I love it, and so I think people see that, and but your question is, are they stim junkies mostly? I would say yeah, because the videos that I put out, and I hate it, that are the stim junkie reviews are the ones that get the most views. And then I put out like a video about my prayer and meditation routine, which I was like comes from my heart, like the deepest place ever, and it gets like no views. So
But you still continue doing it. That's what counts the most.
it's the best content I love making.
Yeah, that's what counts the most. You know what? Like, we doing this, and I've been doing this only for about 2 months now. I think we've done like maybe 10 episodes, 11 or something like that. And you know what? I don't really heavily promote it. I don't do anything like that. Robert and I are doing it as a kind of not even a project. It's just something for fun to interact with people that we respect, we like, or just want to get to know them. And the views and obviously, the following, that's important. I'm not saying it's not. But sometimes your best work comes when you do something out of passion and love for something. The rest will come eventually, but I believe in that. So, yeah, please don't stop doing those things, because I think that spiritual work, you know, you might have a review about a pre-workout, and that might be, one of the top pre-workouts in the world, and it will get you shitload of viewers. That's great. But you know what? That pre-workout is going to be replaced by another pre-workout in a couple of weeks or a month or two at
Yeah,
best,
it's great.
and everybody's going to forget about it. But the ones that are watching your spiritual videos, the ones that want to actually see you, those are the real people. That's the real audience, and those are the ones that count the most, because you're actually helping them. You're helping them to see the real you, and at the same time maybe motivate them to follow in your footsteps. Maybe they're one of those guys who's watching it is a junkie. Maybe somebody who is looking for guidance, and that one person is enough. So I commend you for that, and like I said, keep doing it, because I think that work is extremely, extremely important. And that's the reason why I said that I wanted this interview to be more than just about the reviews. I wanted people to know the real you deep down, what you've been through. And what you've been through is scary. It's genuinely scary. And that's the reason, despite the success of your channel, the success is not your channel. The success is you.
Thank you.
You are the success. What you've done and where you came from is the true success, and it's worth more than any followers, more than any likes or anything like that in the world. Because I'll be honest with you, you inspire me. You do inspire me,
Thank you.
because I draw inspiration from people that bring light and positivity into this world. I'm really trying, especially lately, to distance myself from the dark side, from dark people and people that are, bringing negativity to your life or to the world. But people like you, I think that's what we need more of. success story that, somebody who was on the doorstep of death bounced back, rebuilt himself, rebuilt his physique, cleaned himself up, got a job, got a passion, and is doing something positive for people. I think that's what counts the most. And that's the reason why when when I told you a couple of weeks ago that I need time to prepare for you, I was not ready to the interview with you. I was not ready because this to me, I never took drugs. I not a I've never been a drug addict. I've never even used drugs. I mean, I did use ecstasy once for fun, but I think that was just an experiment. That wasn't even an experiment. It was more like a stupidity. And alcohol, I drank like a couple of times in my entire life. But I think what you're doing, sponsoring people, helping people, I think that's what counts the most. And that's the reason why I have so much respect for you. You earned that respect.
Appreciate
You never asked for it. You earned it with your actions. You never, reached out to me, or at least as far as I know, to anyone, asking for anything, handouts or anything like that. You just did your work. And for that, thank you very much, because, keep doing the good work that you're doing. And I'm not talking about the channel. The channel is going to be fine. I know you're a success story in that 100%. Before we wrap up, on a positive note or entertaining note, other than Garage Gym Homie, which other channel or channels do you like or would recommend to people? Do you think that they're actually good review channels and people can benefit from them?
Well, I feel like there's only a few,
There, I thought there was like two or three at the most. Few
right?
is generous.
Yeah. No, I mean like a few total now. Like
Yeah,
even
I
yeah,
agree.
like so like David, I mean there's no one that I know in the world who's, as well versed as he is on supplementation, especially I mean ingredients, studies, everything. Sometimes I think he's just making it up. It's so crazy. I'm like, this
Because
is
it sounds so
yeah,
convincing.
it's I'm like, he's just making up these stories about there was once a study. And I'm like, this is crazy, man. The stuff he's got like comes off the head, man. So I'm blessed to be his friend, because he's given me a lot of really good knowledge. Not personally only. I watch his videos. I mean, I watch him front to back, and he blows my mind, man, when he reads a label. And I've seen people comment on his video and be like, can you shorten your videos to this? And I'm like, shut your mouth, dude. Like, I'm like, David, just keep doing what you're doing,
Agreed.
you know, and I love watching TJ. TJ's a friend of mine. He's amazing because, I feel like I get a good mix with him, between the label and the experience. So I get kind of both. Um, and, I'm a big supporter of his. Like if I want to know about if a product's junk or not, based on I love watching him. I have a good time watching him. It's good. I feel like I walk away like knowing if that product is for me. I get a good
As a review channel, I do agree that he's probably the only one, because to me, when it comes to ingredients, like for example, I do my own research when it comes to formulas and stuff like that. So the only person I turn to for advice is actually the guy who's helping me with this podcast, and that's Robert Shinetsky. Because to me, the fact that he's called the supplement engineer, there's a reason behind it, because the guy knows his ingredients. I wish in a way that he would have probably like a regular podcast talking regularly about supplements and ingredients, because he can definitely piss off a lot of people, which I enjoy doing, because there are so many fakes and liars, and the industry is so, like you said, cutthroat and so dishonest. So we need that. So when it comes to reviews, as much as I love entertainment and as much as I love, a good content and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, we have to have. We're talking about ingredients that can be potentially harmful. We're talking about ingredients that can be potentially shit. Because we've seen some ingredients where people say, companies make claims, false claims. Oh, this shit is 500% gives you better pump than any other ingredient and stuff like that. It's complete bullshit. So this is where guys like Robert and guys like David are very much needed. They definitely need it because they can guide. In terms of reviews, obviously, the hands-on experience, the way you do it, I think it's very, very important. And I also do enjoy the fact that you're doing reviews about protein because, I mean, I see it time and again where people are advertising, oh, this is whey protein, blah, 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 the best quality whey protein. But it's not whey protein, it's whey protein concentrate, cheap concentrate, garbage concentrate. It's not isolate. And people see the word whey and they automatically think, oh my God, this is good. So it's very, very important, for review channels. And like you said, nobody's watching, or not many people watch your content when you do spiritual stuff. Well, not many people are watching probably when you do protein as well. Not as many as pre-workout, and that's
100%.
and that's bad. And I understand, that some reviewers might think, oh, I'm fucking wasting my time. I don't want to waste my time. I want to review something that gives me a lot of views. But I think, you know obviously, if you take an intra workout or you take protein, you probably cannot judge how your body feels or what it does because it's mostly taste. So you can't really see if L-leucine actually works in your body at that very moment. But if you
Right.
take 1,000 milligram of caffeine, and you'll be flying, so you can definitely tell. So I think that, me personally, I would like to see more reviewers like you review proteins and intra workouts and fat burners and non-stem products because that's what creates. And I think that you can draw audience, other than stem junkies, which is also very important because they also the consumer, and the review channels should be doing that as well. So well done on the fact that you're reviewing
Thank
more
you.
than just pre-workouts.
Yeah,
Um,
I just want to give people something different that they're not used to hearing. I want to tell people, like, hey, this is a supplement review, but always remember your real reliance is on your nutrition, your training, your rest. It's called a supplement. It's meant to supplement something you're lacking. So, like, I think we lose sight of that a lot.
of
We lose
course,
sight of that.
when people
And
see
some of
that you
these
have a
people,
great physique, they want to ask what drugs you're using, what steroids are you using,
yeah,
and nobody cares how much how you're lifting. Nobody cares what you're eating. Nobody cares how you're sleeping, recovering, what supplements, proteins you're using. They want to know what drugs are you using to help you build that physique. That's all
fast
they care.
way.
The best way. And the same thing is with pre-workouts. People are. I got a a DM today. This guy is asking me which one hits harder, Time Cop or Hooligan. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not. I mean, I can say which one hits harder, but I don't think that's the question you should be asking me.
Yeah.
There's a little bit more than that. Ari, to wrap things up, like I said, I want to congratulate you on what you achieved in life. That you got sober. You're in a good place of your life. Beautiful puppies, beautiful
Thank you.
woman. You
Thank
look
you.
happy, always with a smile, always positive. Thank you very much for always thinking about me and sending me Shabbat Shalom and things
Always.
like that. That always makes me feel so good. And for that, I owe you. That's personally, thank you from me because that means a lot to me. So to wrap things up, enjoy your Passover with your family.
You too.
God bless you, and I wish there were more people like you in the world. And congratulations on everything you've achieved so far. And I'm pretty sure more to come.
God bless you too, man. Thanks so much for having me on, man. This was awesome. Heck
Thank
yeah.
you so much, Ari. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys, and see you later.
All right.